Good morning, everyone, and welcome back for week 78 of Build Your Stash and Craft. And this marks 1.5 years of Build Your Stash and Craft, and I just want to tell all of you, thank you so much for all of your support on all of your lovely comments. I've really had fun doing this, and I hope that you're enjoying it too. So what we are going to do, I was requested to make some journal tassels, and so I made this one here, and this is made with everything that we bought. We bought the fibers, and we bought some of the beads, and everything else is what we have in our stash. So because you have to have dangles and everything for a book tassel, and so I went ahead and pulled everything out of the stash and decided how to make some dangles for you, and I'll show you how to make them. So this is what we're going to do today, and I'm going to put that right over there. I have already done most of my painting of the beads and that type of thing, and I've made a lot of the dangles, but I will make a couple of them to show you how to do it. But most everything that I painted, this is one of the beads that we bought, and I wanted to paint it to match. So most of everything I use the skewer while I'm painting it, and then I can just set the skewer across something so that it can dry. But we have one of our little paper clothespins here, and that's going to go with that batch. I'm going to make two. These are the beads that we got. I called them perler beads, which are a flat plastic, a soft plastic bead, and these are actually, I think, what they call pony beads. Either one works. The first time that I made them with perler beads. You just want a bead that has a really big hole in it. So those are the beads that we bought, and then we bought this fiber to go with it, and this fiber is the type that has the mesh with it, and then also it has this like ribbon on the edge. So what I did do is the next time I went to the dollar store, I did find the kind that is just all the mesh. And so I did pick up one of those to show you how it works with this also. So if you have this one, you'll know how it works. If you got that one, I'll show you how to do it. This one works a little bit better, in my opinion. But they both work great. So to start out, what you need to do is you need to put together some things that you're going to want to put on your tassel. And so what we have here is I just have an assortment of beads. This is one of the dominoes that we made earlier in the series, and I just hung a dangly bead on the bottom of that. The rest of it was already put together there. And I have one of our clothespins. These are some of our foam flowers that we got when we were making stamps, and most everything I've coordinated colors with different nail polishes. So I really like the way that the nail polishes give you that really nice lacquer look. I did one set with the peach colors and the glitter ones. So I use nail polish to do this just because that's what I felt like doing. I went ahead and I pulled out I took one of our flowers off of our stem, and then I put some of the glitter nail polish on there. This is kind of like a clear with the holographic type glitter in it, and I just put one of our brads through there, and I left it gold because I liked the gold color. You could paint that to match your project too, and I just went ahead and I just took the nail polish and just kind of randomly put it on there. I didn't make sure that I laid it flat, got every little piece, because it's just a sparkle nail polish. All I'm trying to do is get some of the sparkle on the flower and on the center. So that's how that turns out, and that's so easy. I wanted to show you with the foam flowers, the way that I did those was I just peeled back a little bit of the sticky backing, and then I took a skewer and stuck it in there, and then put that back on there again. And then I just laid it on my mat and I just painted it. But what the skewer does, number one, you can use it to hold that down so it doesn't move. that really works great, because sometimes like my nail polishes are getting a little sticky and they were wanting to make it move. Also, get the edges and everything, but then you can pick it up with that skewer and you can look at your edges and you can touch up any parts of your edges where you didn't, because this was, what color was it? Orange. This was an orange flower. So I didn't want orange bits sticking out around the edges, so that way I could look very easily without having to pick it up and touch it and get any place that the edges might need. Sorry about that. I got a call and it stopped my video. So I was just saying, you know, you can just touch it up where your edges need to be touched up with that skewer on there. So let's go ahead and start putting them together. I have a piece of our wire and I've just cut a piece and then folded it in half. And with the one that I got originally, what I'm going to do, because when I tried to make it work, I'm going to start at the other end. When I tried to make it work with the ribbon part attached to the netting part, it didn't work the way that I wanted it to. So what I'm going to do is just go through and I'm just going to cut that netting off. It's just attached like in just these little places. And so just, I guess I should have probably done most of it before the video started, but I didn't. So let's just do this as quick as we can. But we're just going to unattach that and try and leave like your loop intact and just cut the part that's over here to the edge of the loop. There's like 3 little strings right there. And just cut through those little strings, because what we do after we thread it onto the beads is we're going to kind of stretch this netting part, and it wouldn't stretch while it was hooked to the ribbon. But I did put the ribbon in there too to give some bulk, and because the ribbon is pretty, with it's got little gold sequins on it, and I thought it was really pretty. So we're just going to finish getting to the end here. And this piece that I have here is 18 inches long, and then I cut a piece of the other one that's just the netting, and that one is 22 inches long. So there is no right or wrong length. If you've got a really, see, I just cut that hoop, so we want to be careful not to do that too much. However long your journal is going to be, oops, I got that stuck to my paper clip. You know, you're going to fold it in half and make it about that long, so that when it's folded in half, it's about as long as your journal spine is. So now we've got the piece of ribbon, which we can put in or not, and then we've got our netting part. But this netting part is not as much as if you get one that's all netting. So I'm just going to kind of line these up and then fold them in half. And I'm going to take the wire and put it on there so that I can string it onto the beads. Now I'm going to put it so that the ribbon is on top, so that the ribbon will kind of be on the outside of each side. And then this one I'm going to do with the oranges. So I'm just going to move this aside and just dump these out. So you're going to start with your little beads that you bought with the big holes, and then you're just going to have to give it a bit of a tug. And sorry again, I'm going to have fun editing this one. I ran out of space on my camera. So you pull the first one down to the bottom, towards the bottom, and then put on your second one. I did this with 3 beads. Just give that a pull. Make sure that when you cut your wire and fold it in half, that you've got enough that you can kind of bend it and get a hold of it. I find that easier than, you know, you don't want a really short piece. And just pull that one down. You can always adjust these to exactly where you want them after you get them all on. So, and then put on the third one. Okay, now once you've got the third one on, what we're going to do is we're going to put the paper clip on next. I just chose a white paper clip for this one, and we're going to attach it to the bottom of the big. You've got the 2 separate pieces. The large one we're just going to put on the bottom there. So I'm just going to come up through there and pull that through, and then just find where the center is I can take this out now, and then we're just going to feed this through. Just like you would do if you were putting something on a piece of fiber on the top of a tag or something. Just work that all the way up to the top and give it a pull, and there we go. You just don't want to do that once you have all your dangles on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little bead, and the first one, and push that right up towards the top. Now I think on this one I'm going to leave it down just a little bit, because I think I'm going to take one of these flowers, just kind of feed it through. Maybe I'll feed it through. I'm going to actually feed it through above the paper clip. And open it up. Now I'm going to turn it so the shorter side is up, because the two little prongs, one's longer than the other. And then open that up. That way the longer one is towards the tassel on the bottom, and it doesn't stick up as far. I turn the flower so that the petal covers that little one right there, and so now you can't see it from the front. And then push that bead up to the bottom of the flower. So that's how we're going to start. Now what you're going to do, I'm going to slide this bead up just a little bit, so we've got maybe a couple of inches, and then I'm going to take the netting part, find one piece, and then find the other piece. Okay, now you're going to hold on to the bead, take one side of the netting, here's the netting like this, you're going to hold on to one of the sides and hold on to the bead and just give that side a pull, but only one side. We're going to leave this side down and pull this side out, and it will make kind of a little bit of a buckle. So see, now it sticks out like that. But this part is straight because we didn't pull on this side, so it just makes this little bit that sticks out here. I'm going to go down to the next one then. And what I want to do, because that's very messy, is I want it to start out kind of straight. So I'm going to hold this bead on top, and whoops, I'm pulling the whole thing. All right, let me move this up a little bit. Too much. So that I have a couple inches between the two. All right, I'm going to pull this one back out again. And just pull that side. I'm going to come over to this one. Oh, that's what made it buckle. And I'm going to pull on this one. And again, hold the bead and just pull the outside like that. And then I'm going to set it down and kind of hold on to that. And I'm just going to pull just the ribbon, because I want that ribbon to be fairly straight. I'm going to pull the ribbon down, pull the ribbon down. There we go. And I'm going to pull up on this one. Just make sure that you get one side or the other so that the one stays kind of straight. Whoop. Give that a little bit of a pull. And I'm going to come over and grab this other one. Find a side. And give it a bit of a pull. And there we go. So now we've kind of got like these little wings sticking out. And that just gives it like more bulk. It just makes it fluffier. And it also gives you some place where you can hang your dangle, and then your dangle, I'll show you this one. So you've got this part sticking out, you hang the dangle on it, and then the dangle kind of nests inside those little puffed out parts. So, and I just think that that looks kind of cute and just gives it a little bit of dimension. So that's how you do that. We'll do the other one really quickly too, so that you can see how it is easier with this one. So I'm just going to string on my perler beads, and then I'll show you how to make the dangles. And you can make, I made 3, but you can make as many. I think I actually made 4 for this one, because I made the I made the yarn longer, so I made 4 so that I could have the puffy spots would still only be a couple of inches. And the cool thing is, the way that this works is you can use it to make like necklaces or bracelets. I'll move these all down just a bit. And then go ahead and, now when I painted my paper clip to make it match. And so what I do is I just kind of open it up so that it's not touching each other, so I can actually paint the whole thing. If you hold on to this part where you're going to actually wrap your ribbon through, it doesn't really matter if it gets painted or not. So if you hold it there, you can paint the whole thing and then just hang it on something. And then once it's dry, just bend it back into shape. So I'm just going to put that through this bottom part. Find my center. And just weave this through. And there we go. Okay, and I'm going to leave this bead down just a little bit because on this one I'm going to put my flowers that I painted here. And so then all you're going to do is just find one of the edges, and just give it a pull. I'm going to hold that and try and pull the bottom part straight. There we go. So we've got that one puffed out. So on this one I'm going to do this side. Like that. And then on this one I'm going to come over and do this side. Like that. So on this one it's kind of like every other side. Push that up a little bit so I have a little bit more room. But this makes a really cute bracelet to do it like that. And when you have the whole big amount, you can just do both. You can either do both sides or you can do every other side. And I really like it actually every other side. But that's kind of cute. And since I started it, we'll just finish it that way. So there we go. We've got our little puffies sticking out. And now we just start putting our dangles on. So to make the dangles, all you're going to need is some of your wire, and you're going to need the tools that we bought earlier this year. So just take a piece of your wire, and because we don't have anything to hold at the bottom, we're going to just make a loop at the bottom. So take your round nose pliers and get a hold of it and just go around, turn your pliers a little bit and go around until your wire loop touches the wire here. Then take your flat pliers, hold it right at the joint, like right there, just off of the joint, and then push your wire up around there. And then you're just going to move a little bit and push. And that's how you make a wrapped loop, is just by holding it with your pliers. That holds it flat and holds it together. And it makes it so that you can get it tighter. My wrapped loops are not perfect. I don't make them enough for them to be perfect. But, you know, practice does make perfect, so. But it really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to really look at it and go, that's not exactly perfect. Once I get to this, then I take it and I bend it straight up so that now the loop is at the bottom. And then just go ahead and choose a bead to put on there. And then decide what you want to do with it. There's a few different things you can do. The first thing I usually do is, I'm going to use my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to bend a little L right there, just like that. And then you're going to take your needle nose pliers and put on the outside of the L and come up and around. Bring your pliers to the top and finish going all the way around. and then come back and wrap it around the wire that came up the middle of your bead once or twice. And then you can just wrap this randomly around. See, now this is very off center, so I'm just going to take it and just straighten that up. Okay, now if your wrap here goes this way, then you want your loop to go this way, opposite. See, I can put my pliers through. So my loop is going this way, and then my other part is going this way. That way, when you put a jump ring on it, the jump ring will hang like this, and it will hang with that being flat on the front. So you can just wrap this around. What I like to do with my extra wire, first thing is put a little tiny loop on the end. Make sure that it meets your wire, like that. And that way you don't have to worry about that sharp end. And then I just take my flat nose pliers and I just bend it a little bit, move up a little bit, and bend it back. And bend down and up. And basically I just like to make a zigzag on the wire, because I think that looks really cute when you wrap it around your bead. And just keep going until you get to your little loop, and then it looks like this. And then I just take that and just randomly wrap it around the bead, kind of down and then back up again. And then when you get to the end, I want to push that down, but it's getting hard to push on, so I'm just going to take my pliers and I'm just going to kind of lay it over a little bit and push that around. And there we go. Now we have a wrapped bead. This is just one of our own paper beads, and that is a dangle that we can put on our, so I have a few of those. So that's to put on our thing. And then I wanted to show you how to make a long one for the bottom, which is basically just the same. You're just going to take a longer piece of wire. There is no right length. This piece of wire is probably about between 10 and 12 inches. Might be too long. But I'm just going to roll this around and then get a hold of it with my flat pliers. And just keep moving it and wrapping it as you go to keep it flat. And that does help it be a little bit more of a circle than if you do it with your hands, or at least me. When I do it with my hands, it's very loose. And there we go. And I'm just going to bend that one straight up, again like that. And put a bead on there. And then what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to bend it over and put a loop on it. And come up and around and go up. My pliers out of the way and go straight up. So I've got a loop there, and then that's going straight up. Then I'm going to just grab a hold of it again. And this time I'm going to go the other way. Move my pliers and bring it straight up. And then I'm going to put them on this side again and come around until I can go straight up. And you can do that as many times as you want. Then let's say you want it to be a little longer than that, but you don't want any more loops. Then you can put a few zigzags in it. And you don't have to worry about which way your zigzags are going. Once you get them all in, then you can straighten it back up. And I think I'm going to put another one here. Which kind of went the wrong way, but that's okay. And I think that that is definitely long enough. It's really actually too long, but we're going to leave it anyways. And I'm just going to now make a loop and then go around the wire to make it a solid loop that we can hook on, and then nip those off, and make sure that when you nip them off, if it doesn't get really close, make sure you hang onto your wire when you nip. And then use your flat pliers to go in and make sure that you get that flattened down. And now we have a really big long dangle. So I'm definitely not going to want to hang that off the bottom. I'm going to probably hang it part way up. And then you just start adding them. I also did, I painted and put some glitter on one of these. And then I just took a piece, remember when we did the daubers that we made? And I was just testing them on the paper. I went ahead and cut a piece of that paper. And I'm going to glue that on the back. But what I'm going to do first really quick is I'm going to show you how to make a bail to hang it from, which we have done this before, but I'm going to show you again. And it's just as easy as making your hangers for the dangles. Where's my where's my flat pliers? They're right here. So just make a little loop on the bottom. Now this one, it doesn't even matter what it looks like because we are going to attach this to the back of our domino. And that's going to be our bail. And then I'm just going to fold it straight up. I'm going to put just a few kinks in it. And it doesn't even matter which way, except that I want this to be in the center of my domino, because I'm going to cover this up. Okay, so right here's where we're going to want to put our loop. We're going to take our little pliers, put them on there, go around, move them, come around, and then go this way. Around our wire. And in this instance, since we're covering it up anyways, I'm just going to let this wire come down here, and it just gives it more to grab onto. And then I'm going to put this on here like this. Make sure that it's centered, and glue this on the back. Just like that. Okay. And then let that dry, decorate the front, and this can be another dangle on your book charm. So to hook them on, all you use is jump rings. Now I have these jump rings here that we made quite a while back. And I have two sizes, little tiny ones that I wrapped around a skewer and bigger ones that I wrapped around a pen. You just want something that's kind of straight. The pen that I used was this type of pen. So when you wrap it around there, this barrel is straight and they slide off really easy. I'll show you really quick how to make them again in case you didn't see that video where we made them. Now these are not jump rings like really to use for jewelry because they're not really solid. They could come on, you know, like if they get pulled on heavy, they could come undone. So you wouldn't want them for jewelry. But all you do is you just wrap around and around and around something that is round. I don't really usually use paintbrush handles because most of them have a tapered handle. You just go around and around, and this is going to seem stupid because I squish them together, but then as soon as I take it off, I pull them apart again. And so I'm going to cut off this tail right here. There we go. And then I'm going to grab it and I'm going to stretch it just a little bit. Okay, and now where I cut that tail, I'm going to just go right next to that and cut the next wire. And so now we have this circle that the cut is right next to each other, so that when you open it up and shut it up, you're not going to, and you just keep going where this little tail is. Right there's the tail. So I'm just going to go right next to that tail and cut the very next wire. And you just keep doing that until you get them all cut. And then you have a whole bunch of jump rings that you can use for any of your projects. I'm just going to put that aside for now. And you'll need different size jump rings depending on what you're doing. So it's always good to use a few different things to make them. Now I'm just going to decide. I'll lay this up here, and I have these ones to go with it. I'm going to decide where I want to put them. I'm actually going to put this one way up towards the top because it's so long. Now I actually could, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll put one of these right on there. And then I'll put this one, I think, right up there. And I am going to hang this one to hang at the bottom. Now I want this to hang about as long as my tails. And I'm going to cut the tails just a little bit. So I'm going to hang this one like right in this area. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to hang it right there. And that's all of them. So all I need to do then is just take my jump rings and attach them to the netting. And you can either use your big ones or your little ones. It doesn't really matter. So just take that, put it through a part of your netting, and then bend it back together. Whenever you bend jump rings, always just bend them back and forth. Don't ever pull them apart. And so there's one. And I think for the great big one, I think I'm going to use a little one. I can handle the little ones better if I hold them with a pair of pliers. So I'm going to do that and just put that through there. And grab a piece of netting up here towards the top. And then bend it back. And there we go. And then I'm going to take another little one and attach this one to it, right up on one of those loops that we made. And that one does not quite meet, so I'm going to have to push it together. And I didn't quite get it. And of course, everything, I'm always fingers when you're trying to do it in a hurry on a video. I can't even get a hold of it. Okay, use the pliers. Get a hold of one side. Put it on your little loop. Put it on your other little loop. And bend it back together. So there we go so far. I'll just use a big loop because it's easier to get a hold of. And it's kind of nice to have the differences. And I want to definitely try and get a hold of the very top of this netting. But I want to make sure that it shows on this side. So I want to get a hold of this side of the netting, not the back side. And there we go. And then we just have one left to put towards the bottom. And just grab a hold of that one. Now these big ones, if you want to put another little bead on the bottom, they're big enough to go through these loops if you want to dangle something from the bottom of your charm. And I want to get really close up here towards the top. The bigger the jump rings that you make, they're not as strong. The smaller they are, the stronger they are. And there we go. So now we've got this bead at the top, and then we've got this dangly bead over here, another one here, this one hanging from the bottom, and then all you have left to do is just trim it. And I'm just going to trim it on an angle like that. And I'm going to trim this a little bit too. And this one. And so this is what our dangle looks like. Now this one, actually, I wanted it on this side, and I put it on the wrong side, so I'm going to move it because it doesn't look good hanging right next to that one. So let's hold it all out. And put it right up here. And now that looks better because now we've got the danglies on both sides, here and the one at the bottom. So that is just how easy it is to make these. I'll put this one together really quick and then come back and show it to you, since this is already getting really long, and let you know what we need for next week. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and here are the finished tassels. So we do have the one that I started out with that I used as a sample I was trying to make sure that I can figure things out before I come on camera and do it and find out I can't do it. And then this is the one that we made earlier with all of our little dangles on it. And we've got paper beads, plastic beads, and this one's got a paper and a plastic with our different little decorative wiring on there. And then this is the one that I went off camera, and I was going to put this flower at the top, but then I really liked the way this one looked, so I put that flower at the top. And I put these flowers back to back because they're sticky back, and I just stuck a jump ring in between the petal there before I pushed it together, and then I used another jump ring to attach it to our swirl on the bottom of that one. Like I said, you could hook things to the swirl with the big jump ring, so I did that. And another one of our plastic beads. This is one of our clothespins, and I just made a little banner and put Enjoy Life and just clothespin that right on there. So, and this is a paper bead and one of our decorated dominoes with a plastic bead hanging off the bottom. So the one thing I was worried about in making a tassel was no charms. How am I going to decorate it with no charms? But I think that these decorated beads with all the wire work on them, I think that looks really pretty. And you just have to figure out something different in place of what you don't have. And I think that this turned out really well. So because you really do want the dangly bits hanging off of there. So what we're going to need for next week is we are going to need some seashells, and these are some nice size seashells from the Dollar Tree for $1. And you're going to want to try and get the bigger ones. I think they had a pack of really small ones too, but the big ones will work better. And then some Fix-It-All adhesive, also from the Dollar Tree. This is a really strong glue, kind of like E6000, but it's a whole lot cheaper. So that we'll need a tube of that. And then some of the gemstones, and you can get these at the Dollar Tree too. The day that I picked them up, I wasn't at the Dollar Tree, so I got them at Walmart for 75 cents, but we'll count it as $1. So if you get them at the Dollar Tree, and get the ones that are really kind of like the little gemstones instead of the ones like on the reel, if you can find some like this. And then some pretty tissue paper. I got some nice springy tissue paper, but get anything that you like. If you like steampunk, get something in the tans and blacks, or whatever it is that you like. Get the colors that you like. So that's $4 for this week. That saves us $1. We had $10.50 in the bank, so now we have $11.50 in the bank. So these are our tassels. I really enjoyed making them. I hope you enjoyed watching and that you have fun making some of your own. Thank you very much for all of your support. And what I am going to do is I am going to give one of these tassels away, since we made it to a 1.5 years. At next week, after I do next week's video, I'm going to take all of the comments from this video, and I'm going to put them in a hat, and I'm going to draw one out, and then I will send one of these tassels, whichever one you want, to whoever's name I draw out of the hat. It doesn't matter if it's international or not. It's open to everyone. So if you leave a comment below, then your name will go in the hat, and I'm going to send one of these out to someone just to show I really do appreciate everything that you all do with your comments and watching my videos. Thank you very much. So thanks for watching, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.